and I guess this is what drives me a little nuts, is I have friends on Facebook, and I see the stuff they post, and guys, it's just so crazy how people are so definitive and argumentative and just plain like refuse to look at like something objectively. So let's pick on, today we're talking about Tylenol. So if you didn't know, which I think everybody pretty much knows, that President Trump mentions that there is a study that suggests that Tylenol could influence autism when in a fetus, or during pregnancy. So the situation would potentially be a mother who is pregnant takes Tylenol and then ends up having a child with autism. And so the hard thing is that so the study, let me collect my thoughts, but the study is from Mount Sinai. So if you look at Mount Sinai and you go check out their study, they have completed a study with thousands of people, and they said that there appears to be some sort of statistically significant something to look into more further, okay? So there's all this blasting and talk online and just going, oh, it's absolutely not true, and all these studies say that it doesn't, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so, let's just talk about this logically. So, I always say if you give an apple to 1 million people, one person's gonna die from apples. Does that mean that apples kill people? No, it just means that it did for one person. All human beings are not exactly the same. One I love to pick on is HPV. HPV, for some, will cause cancer. Others, they die of something else. Maybe a car accident, maybe old age. That doesn't mean HPV doesn't cause cancer. It just means that it didn't cause cancer in that particular person. Okay? But HPV most definitely causes a bunch of cancers. In fact, I think there's cancers that it causes that they don't even want to talk about, because it's more popular to say, get a shot and just keep sleeping around, than it is to realize you screwed a bunch of people and now you're going to die, and so are they. That's not as good of a message. But today we're talking Tylenol. So anyone who has a mother, which is everyone, probably has had a mother that took Tylenol, because I don't know if you know this, but having a baby inside of you sounds like a really crappy, rough, difficult situation, which is why men don't have babies, because men would probably be like, yeah, I'm going to take everything, and if the baby comes out weird, that's its problem. Men are not built the same. It's okay for women to be better than us at pain tolerance and all these other things. Win. I don't want to touch having a baby ever inside of me. That would just be awful. So you guys are the carriers. You guys rock. Kudos to you in all ways. But all of those mothers very likely have taken Tylenol because that stuff hurts. Having a baby inside you, it's a painkiller to take the pain away. So I believe that people that took Tylenol, which is again probably everyone, my wife took Tylenol with the babies when she was pregnant because she hurt. So now if you did something intentionally, then you should feel guilty. If you drank a bunch of alcohol and did drugs, and then your baby comes out jacked up and you're like, oh man, I didn't know. Well, that's baloney. Everybody knows that damages a baby. So you should feel guilty because you caused a life to be damaged, and that is on you. If you took Tylenol knowing that you were doing the best you could because you took stuff that wasn't supposed to hurt a baby, then you should, never feel any regret, remorse, or feel any blame whatsoever. Some stuff in life just happens. You can do everything right. I know so many women who have done everything they could to have the perfect baby and the perfect child and everything, and you know what happened? Something still goes wrong. It's not their fault. It's not your fault. Nobody is at fault for a child that's born with autism. It just happens. There could be outside influencers that may or may not affect it. Who knows? That's what they're trying to study and determine, but it doesn't make you or anyone else a bad person for it. Even if, let's imagine, Tylenol does 1% increased chance of causing something. All of you ladies that have had babies outside of being 30 years old, the risk you take for having a child with special needs goes up significantly. Why? Because your bodies were ready at like 15, 16 to have babies, which is kind of the prime time, but in our society, that's kind of like the worst time, right? But physically, that's your time where you're like, you can get over everything quicker, quicker. There we go, as a word. But you can recover from all this stuff because you're simply younger. That's the same thing with, like, I watch my kid run track meets and they're running like these laps, and I'm like, I could never run that because I don't have the recovery as a 43-year-old. I could still father a child at 43, but I also could have at 15. The 15-year-old me, not a good dad, but probably a better sperm donor because my body was just younger. There's less decay and damage to cells and DNA and all that other crap. But if you're having a baby at 30 or more, I mean, look at 35. When you're 35, there's a chance that your kid is like, was it 1 out of like 12 that the kid could have special needs? The odds go up significantly. But the logic is, no matter what, it increases with age, period. Versus 16 years old to like 40 years old, there's a major difference. That's just reality. Now, does Tylenol affect it? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. You're not a scientist. My friend that blasted all this craziness on Facebook is not a scientist. She's just a person that probably took Tylenol, has a kid that has special needs and feels guilty for it, which she should not feel any guilt towards. And so that lashing out is because she doesn't want to feel that guilt. So she's just going to lash out and blame the president and say he's an idiot and everything else. I'm not smarter than the president. She's not smarter than the president. The president is not a scientist. He does have people that do tests and they do confirm things and come up with stuff. So while he does say a lot of stuff, it's okay to accept the fact that we just don't. But getting all spun up about it, to me, is kind of crazy because either way, nobody maliciously took a bunch of Tylenol to kill the baby or give him autism. So if it does happen or doesn't happen, don't worry about it. Love your kids, do the best that you can do as a parent, and know that, I mean, there are things that I've fed my kids cereal. I'll be the first to admit it. I think Lucky Charms is like the greatest food in the world. And I love Lucky Charms, and so do my kids. Lucky Charms, there's some stuff that are like, oh, that's sugar and all that stuff, it's going to cause cancer or these other problems in life. And my kids eat hot dogs and macaroni and cheese. Guys, I'm just trying to keep them alive. They eat chicken nuggets too. I try to pick out the best ones. I'm doing the best I can. But, what happens when everybody eats all perfectly organic? They get hit by a bus or struck by lightning. And then, just stuff happens. So sit there and live whether a Tylenol, now, maybe it doesn't at all. But I'm just saying, don't definitively say you know, because we don't. But what we do know is that if you have a child with autism or not, you got to love that kid like there's no tomorrow, because that kid is a gift to you. Children are precious. They're special. And whatever reason, but you can't control those things, but you can control your choices afterwards. And I believe that no matter what, if you are trying to do your best and you are raising a kid with autism or any special needs, God honors that, and he loves to see people who are doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is loving their kids while they're on this earth. So you will never go wrong. It matter what it doesn't matter. My son has hearing problems, as in like he's severely deaf in his ears to where he has to have hearing aids to hear anything. It's if not, he just can't hear. And so my son has special needs. So I can definitely tell you that I know what it's like to have a child that has some form of special needs, but not every special need. I can't relate to all of them. But I can tell you, I don't care if my son has a special need or not. I love my son, and I'm going to help my son go through this life best he can. Nothing I did gave him those special needs. It just happened when he was 3 or 4. He got sick, and something attacked his ears, and he keeps getting worse and worse. And we're just praying that he doesn't eventually become deaf. But if he does, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to learn sign language, and I'm going to talk to him, and I'm going to keep going. In fact, I've already learned a lot of sign language because my buddies is deaf. But anyway, it's nothing that we've done. It's just something that could or could not have happened. Are chicken nuggets the cause of deafness? Well, maybe if every kid's eating a chicken nugget, out of 1 million kids, one of them gets deaf. We don't know. Human beings are just different. There's different mixes. Different people have different responses. That's just how the truth is. But is it caused by Tylenol or not? I don't know. And fighting and arguing over something that we don't know is just absolutely stupid. And what it does demonstrate is an argumentative, ignorant person that just wants to fight. And it is so much more effective and wise to say, we don't really know everything, but there certainly are a lot of things that are strange that we didn't know before. So That's just the truth. That would be a correct statement. To fly off the handle and go crazy just shows a lot of ignorance and hate, and I just don't like that. So, guys, please don't do that. But anyway, yeah, I'm not being dangerous. I promise. I literally just talk and drive. So it's basically like having I don't know. It's like being connected on a phone on a speakerphone, but just not talking to anybody but yourself, which is kind of strange. But that said, guys, I appreciate you. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you guys later on the channel, and I'll talk to you later.